Hey, everybody out there. This is Old Buck Dave again. Back
Old
again.
Buck Dell, yeah.
Old Buck Dale, he's still here with me. So, grab a coffee, folks, or your beverage choice, whatever that might be, depending on what time of the day it is for you. Pull up a chair, move up to the table with us, and listen to us tell stories to each other.
Yeah, talk about everything we talk about. So there you go.
Hey, but it was a beautiful day today, wasn't it? Nice day.
It was wherever you were at. It was a great day.
Oh, I got a nice bike ride in this morning with Dr. Vito. Remember Dr. Vito? We interviewed him.
Yeah, I do. He's back in town.
He's back in town. He's starting on the trolley again next week. He got his training this week, such as it was. So we look forward to more Dr. Vito stories. You know, he's a great guy to ride with because he calls me Davey. He says, Davey, leave our egos at the car. He says it's all about the camaraderie, just like the Bucks here, just like us having coffee. It's all about the camaraderie. Leave your ego at home.
We'll look forward to hearing more about him. Yeah, look forward to hearing more about him.
Yeah. I got a letter from afar. Well, let's start off with a letter from afar. We kind of do these at the end normally, but this is pretty important.
Go ahead.
This is from intrepid listener Ranger Rick. And he makes a good point here. He says he's talking about the segment we did on Gunther, the Wonder Dog, the one that you fell in love with, and
that I wanted to marry.
That you wanted to marry, right? Yeah, walking down the aisle doggy style, baby. I can see that. Anyway, he's listening to this. He says Gunther is probably a hoax, a clever ruse invented by a real estate agent for publicity purposes. This, according to some research I did. Looking forward to your next podcast. Love and kisses, Ranger Rick. All right. He didn't say love and kisses. I just threw that in. Anyway, so I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I'm thinking the media is buying this.
Yeah, here's what happened.
It's a real case of fake news there.
So after Rick dug into this, I dug into it and said, sure enough, it's a hoax. And if you recall, when I first saw this, I thought this can't be real. Well, it's not real. All right, the AP fell for this hook, line, and sinker. These guys run this scam every couple of years. Now, it's this rich family that owns this house. They're not selling it to Madonna, or they're not buying it from Madonna. And they've had a series of Gunthers in there since, I don't know, 30s or 40s. And that's kind of like a running joke within the family. And I guess it's been around a long time, but they got the AP to bite on it. Yeah.
So basically,
so the wedding's off.
The
wedding's off.
My critical analysis of how they could do that. I'm thinking, who's making the money on this thing, and it turns out it really is an impossible thing. They can't set stuff like this and give it all to a dog and have the dog decide to sell it. So
right.
All right, folks, that let's lay that that story to rest.
Gunther's not going to the pound after all.
Hey, I got something I wanted to ask you.
Ask away, baby.
You remember Pee Wee Herman, don't you?
I do remember Pee Wee Herman. Yeah.
I heard on, I think it was on radio, that he was working with a bigger podcast operation somewhere.
Bigger than the Bucks. Come on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think much bigger. I think they had, some like serious 10 listeners and
10 listeners.
But what caught my mind was that he was considered doing a podcast, and I thought, that'd be kind of cute because he did a lot of creative things. In fact, I believe he was ahead of his time with some of the creative stuff that he came up with. And there is nobody that's ever been able to duplicate that character. Let's face it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give a big shout out to Pee Wee. And he plays another character very well. It's an alternate caricature that he can move around with. He plays a character called Paul Rubin.
Paul Rubin.
Yeah. And I want to give a shout out to him. I want to wish him some success on his podcast attempt, because we're still searching for that ourselves.
Yeah.
But I really admired his work, and
it was really different. It was kind of I
thought he was a genius.
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. But anyhow, I want to give a shout out to him. I hope he's successful with that. But surely amongst our listeners, I'm not sure where he lives, but if we have any listeners that knows Pee Wee Herman or his alter ego Paul Rubin, if they would tell him to contact BUCKSTWOOLD@gmail.com and just say hello, I would love to meet him personally and love to interview him.
How's it going, Pee Wee?
I would really and I'd support him, and maybe we can give him a little airtime or something. So any listeners out there that know how to reach Pee Wee or Paul, go ahead and tell them.
Either one of them, right?
Yep.
Hey, I don't know where he is, but you remember the bicycle that he used in his show?
Oh, that little red bike.
Yeah, I know where that bike is. We could interview the bike. I know that. That bicycle, it exists. It's in Bicycle Heaven in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
In a museum.
Bicycle Heaven is it's a bicycle museum of sorts. It's spectacular, actually. I've never seen anything like it. He's got several floors just full of
antique bikes, or
all kinds of bikes from different times. And you think, okay, here's a bike that was made in Holland in 1932, and it's got plastic wheels or something like that. You think he doesn't have one. He probably has 12 of them. This stuff is amazing.
But the one he used in the movie? Dave?
It's the actual one that he used in the movie. Yeah. It's there.
Well, that's interesting.
It's there. So
do you remember what brand that was? Like a Schwinn or
I don't. Next time I'm there, I'll check for you.
You said you had something else about biking.
Oh, yes, I do have something else about biking. So I'm not paying attention.
Folks, we plan so carefully.
Yeah, it's another
when we do these things.
Yeah, it's our 3-minute warm up here. What are we going to talk about? Anyway, yeah, I read a story in a cycling online cycling magazine. It was a Road CC, and they had an article about a psychopath test. Okay, and people that have taken this test, it's shown that BMW drivers are the most likely to show psychopathic traits. Isn't that incredible? BMW drivers.
So this is implying that the type of car you choose to drive sometimes reflects your personality.
They have statistics that they actually, we're going to put a link to the article, and then we're going to put another link to the article that the bicycling magazine used, where you can actually take the test. And we would certainly look forward to our listeners reporting their scores, either real or false, true or false. And it's called the psychopath test, and it's several questions, and it's kind of like multiple choice times, 20 questions. So I took the test. All right.
So you didn't everybody else should. As a psycho, but
I'm not saying.
Is there a category called bad driver?
It's just taking the test. It's kind of interesting, that's kind of the stuff that.
All right, there's a challenge for
piques
the deep
my interest,
old Bucks users. Now we're sending them off to a link.
I got another bicycle story. It just came to my head here. You weren't even talking about that, were you?
No,
you weren't talking about. Because I was
going to talk about your bicycle. You're going to give a shout out to some bicycle
guys. Yes. This is a shout out to Tom and Larry and the guys at Salvation Army. There was a nice article about the crew in the Observer. Just came out this week. These fellas refurbished donated bicycles, and then the Salvation Army dispenses these bikes to clients that need them, people that need bikes for transportation. And they also give some to other nonprofit organizations in the area, depending on need. And of course, some of these they also sell to get money for parts to refurbish the other bikes that are coming down the line. So it's they do a nice job. They're interesting guys.
All volunteers.
All volunteers. Yeah. Tom's a jack of all trades. He's done a lot of stuff working there, cleaning the place up and organizing it. And Larry's like a wizard. I mean, he in his spare time, he refurbishes pinball machines. You remember those? And now,
I do.
now he's building guitars. Guy's incredible. Nice crew. There's a bunch of them there. Jimmy Shine's there, and Bottom Bracket Doug. There's several of them there. Tiger Boy. There's a lot of them there, but they're
So
good.
you recycle you recycle the bikes that come in that are unusable, and or you take them all apart and build them back up.
They'll get donations either, from bike shops that, bikes get taken in and trade, or different housing developments will donate bikes, or individuals can donate bikes.
So a big shout out to the boys
Big
at the
shout out
Salvation
to the
Army
boys
that do
at
that.
Salvation Army. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they call themselves the Bike Boys, but they haven't been boys for about 60 years. So, but they want to be called the boys. That's okay. That's okay.
I know what I wanted to tell you. You were mentioning the driving thing. I was going to tell you. I don't know if our listeners know, but I don't own a car. That's correct. You heard that correctly.
Heard that correctly, folks.
I do not own a car. I bike, walk, or ride the bus, and the wife drives me sometimes if I need to go to the doctor.
Oh, I thought you were going to say crazy.
No, if I need to go to the doctor with a colonoscopy or something like that. But anyhow, so I'm not a driver, so I couldn't become I wouldn't qualify as a bad driver or a psycho driver. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, you just might be psychopathic anyway,
I'm bordering on genius. Remember, that's what I'm working on.
That's true.
Did I tell you, this is something new you haven't heard. Did I tell you that I bought a wooden WOOD wooden watch? Did you know there was such a thing?
I figured if there was such a thing, you'd be the one to buy it.
Actually, very, very popular.
Sounds pretty useful.
I always thought it would be interesting to have a watch that was made out of wood, and I looked it up, and sure enough, there is such a thing, and there's actually quite a bit of them. Some of them are pretty expensive.
Don't get too close to the Weber grill with it, baby.
No, and I thought even the band is made out of wood. There's a little bit of metal on it, but the reason I was interested in it.
Yeah, tell me why. I'm interested.
Yeah. Actually, I'll tell you, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you, but if I wear a heavy metal watch, like a big Seiko or, maybe a Citizen or something, anything that's big and heavy, I've got an electrical field in my arm, and it'll make my arm go numb, just like deadens the whole arm. I don't know why it does that.
Wait a minute. You've got an electrical field in your arm?
I'm pretty sure. Something to that effect. So I have to wear watches that are very, very light. I can wear aluminum and I can wear plastic, which I don't like. But wood is extremely light. And so I went ahead and spent the $19.95 and got one.
I mean, this whole ray gun thing in your arm, I mean, is this since you left the mothership, or when did this start?
I don't know. It just came on me. A big cast iron Seiko watch. Remember, they can be pretty big.
Oh,
pretty
yeah. Yeah. Remember when you needed two hands to tell what time it was?
It was a status symbol. But
yeah. Look how big my watch is. Mine's bigger than yours. Yeah.
That was like those Invicta watches or something like it. Just a huge piece of iron on your arm. Well, I discovered that I just could not stand the weight. It just made my whole arm, my forearm and everything just got real uncomfortable. I just couldn't take it.
You are a sensitive guy.
Well, sometimes I wanted X-ray vision, but I didn't get that. So I know I hadn't told you that before, but I did get one. I'll let you know how it works. It's supposed to be here sometime next week. I'll tell you.
Okay. Oh, you don't have it yet. Okay.
I don't have it yet.
Get rid of that Weber before it comes in, baby. I shouldn't have the two of those in the same room.
You know what I'm worried about that? You know how you snag watches? You snag the bands. You have a beautiful watch, and you're carrying a piece of furniture, up along the wall, and then you hear that grinding sound. And you just tore the crystal off your watch. You're going, oh no, my good watch. So,
I've crushed a few crystals doing stupid things. Yeah.
You should have taken it off before you got in.
Should have taken it off. But no. Like my wife says, you're always in a hurry. You're always in a hurry. She's right. She's right. You're so impatient about everything.
Hey, let me change gear.
Please.
I have something I wanted to tell you.
Talk to me.
You heard about Omicron. Was it Omicron 25 or whatever?
Omicron. Yeah. Is that a watch? Is that like a
Nah,
that's not a watch.
That's a variant from the COVID.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, everybody's aware of that. Okay, so I'm surprised. This is what struck me. Where is it? Where was it sort of identified?
Botswana, South Africa, something like that?
No, that's the whole region down there, but it was in South Africa.
Southern Africa, yeah.
Where they said, look, we think we got a variant here, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You're in a country, a large population that may not have access to vaccines and or other what's that, the personal safety gear or something like that. So it's interesting that South Africa has the capability. They have a very modern, up-to-date, high-class, laboratory system.
Mm-hmm.
They're one of the, I guess they rank in the high of the world's population that has the capability of even determining this. And yet, so they discover it and they tell the world about it. And of course, we banned all travel to those countries down there, which I'm sympathetic to that. I understand the problem with that. But what if this variant really was going ballistic someplace that did not have that capability, like maybe Haiti or Honduras or anywhere else in the world where they just did not have the kind of lab technique to solve it? That could be a real problem. That could have been everywhere before they discovered it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's true.
So
yeah,
let's hope this thing is not going to overwhelm us, and maybe our vaccines will give us some protection for that. At least I hope that's the case. I thought that was interesting.
Thank you.
I know some folks from over there, and I think they was taking it pretty seriously too, because they didn't have vaccines.
I would imagine,
yeah. So
I mean, the other issue over there is the AIDS is a problem there.
It's still a problem.
It's still a problem, and
problem.
that's where they found this on some AIDS patients who had no immunity. So the vaccine, it just went nuts.
Well, we'll see how this plays out.
It's kind of ominous. I mean, it says, let's move along.
Let's leave that subject to the expert. But I thought it was interesting that thankfully there was a country that, like I said, actually could diagnose it and was kind enough to tell us about it. So we can kind of get a jump on it. So
let's move
anyhow,
on.
That's on a serious note. We'll set that aside as an old buck comment.
Well, let's move on to something lighter, like the end of the world as we know it. How about that? How's that sound? How's that sound for something upbeat?
Well, as an augur, as someone,
you are
who can predict the future.
You're very auguristic. Yeah.
Go ahead, tell me which.
I read this was an article in Physics World. It says NASA has launched a first of a kind mission to deflect an asteroid. So this is a test where they've launched a rocket, and there's a kind of a 2 asteroid system out there in deep space. I don't know how far it is. It's the edge of the solar system, I guess.
Well, they picked one anyhow.
Okay. Picked one, yeah, and they're going to
pick an asteroid. Pick
an asteroid. They're going to crash this rocket into the smaller of the 2 asteroids, and then see how much that deflects it. It would only take a small nudge to get an asteroid that was headed for the Earth to, move at a fraction of a degree. If it's millions of miles away, okay. By the time it gets to the Earth, it's gonna miss us by several hundred thousand miles or whatever.
So they're not going to nuke it.
No. The whole nuke thing is that's Hollywood. All right, you don't nuke them. You don't nuke them.
You just bump them.
If you nuke them, I mean, the pieces are still coming at you. You gotta bump it. All right. Nuking.
So here's the logic that now that I'm thinking about it is that if it's that far away,
mm-hmm.
you only need to move it a couple degrees off of that course, because
mm-hmm.
by the time that trajectory takes it way past Earth.
Yep.
So, but that would be a lot of shooting, don't you think?
Well, this is a test. This is a test of the system because there are a lot of asteroids out there that we haven't identified nearly maybe half of them that are potential issues. There are a lot that we haven't identified yet. So this is
I'm actually surprised, frankly, I'm actually surprised that more of them don't, more big ones don't boom and break, or, maybe something the size, well, they say something the size of a car hits the earth. That's pretty bad.
We're gonna get hit.
That's a pretty bad news there. But
we
let's
get
say
hit
the
by
small,
little
like a
ones all the
basketball
time.
or something. I don't know.
Yeah. But, yeah.
I'll hold my breath for that.
Remember the dinosaurs. Remember the dinosaurs. So that's my news of the world here. Hopefully we'll be long gone before that's ever an issue, but it's going to be an issue for somebody. So I wish them all the success in these tests and this scientific endeavor.
I heard our friend Elon was selling more stock.
Don't get me started on that guy.
Yeah. I don't care. I know what.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you. I was trying to fathom, $1 billion or something like that, and my mind just couldn't. I just couldn't put my mind around it. What you would do with that kind of money? It's not cash. It's not like you got it in paper currency someplace. It's in assets, I guess, right? Isn't that how they do that?
Well,
nobody keeps $1 million worth of cash.
When he sells those shares, he's selling for cash. He's going to get cash. He's going to have. Well, he'll do something with it. Put it in some other investment account.
He's not going to put it in the garage.
He's not going to put it in the garage. He needs a bigger garage.
Yeah. And his little red Roadster is still up there floating around, isn't it?
It's still up there. Yeah.
They don't talk about that anymore. You notice that?
No, it's out.
I wonder if anybody even can see that. I wonder if his camera's still on it. I wonder if he hasn't been showing pictures of that. That'd be. I
don't know, but I'll bet at least one listener or two out there is going to find out for us and let us know. I would appreciate it if somebody did.
You know what I mean? It's up there flying around. He had a camera on it.
Yeah.
It'd be some beautiful shots of the Earth or something like that. If they was.
Oh, he's way out there now. It's way out there. So.
This thing was flirting away from him. I thought it was in orbit.
No, I think he got shot into deep space.
Oh, so
I might be wrong, but I think
so. The little red Roadster is on its way to another galaxy.
He cranked it up at 25,000 miles an hour and said, "Adios." I think that's the idea.
Go figure. I didn't know that.
I might be wrong. I don't know.
I don't lose any sleep over those kind of things, though.
You're a good sleeper. I know that. You're a good sleeper. Yeah. Hey, moving it to a different place here. I got a couple entertainment items to talk about. If you're interested, I got a book report, as you would call it.
A book review or report?
It could be
a book notice. Let's call them a book notice. I don't really give.
Dave read a book. Let's put it that way.
Okay, what did Dave read this time?
This was a good book. This was recommended to me by a vintage vixen, Laura. The name of the book is called "Let the Great World Spin." The author is Colum McCann. It takes place in a day or so, well, a couple of days, but it's back in 1974. You remember the day the guy did a skywalk between the Twin Towers?
I do.
You remember that? Okay, well, this book.
That was a Frenchman, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Philippe Petit or something like that. And anyway, this story revolves around people below, okay? People in different walks of life and what was going on in their world at that time, at the same time this guy was doing this high wire act. It was an interesting concept. One of the main characters is an Irish priest who's working in the slums, and he's got particular personal issues, and his brother comes to see them. There's a mother and daughter that are sex workers. It goes into their lives and what's happening to them at the time. There's another group of mothers who lost their sons in Vietnam, and it's kind of a support group, and a little bit about how they're trying to deal with losing their sons in Vietnam.
Did you finish it?
I did, yeah. I thought it was really well written, and how these different stories weave in and out of each other.
So let me say it this way: they're telling all these stories on the ground, but meantime, above them, a man is walking on a high wire between two buildings.
Right. Right. Yeah. And it doesn't happen just that day, but that high wire walk is that's kind of the pivot point.
Kind of hanging over the whole story.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of the thing that kind of grounds it all in history. Yeah. And they talk about him as well, but he's not that interesting a character in the whole thing. It's these other people that are the interesting characters.
Isn't that the case all the time, no matter what, what fantastic event is going on? Day-to-day life is still going on somewhere underneath it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're going to give that 5 stars?
I am going to give that 5 stars. That's absolutely a 5-star book. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And I've got a series that I just finished also. For those of you,
one of your television things, or
this is on Netflix. Yeah. Yeah. It's called Gloria. And it takes place in the town of Gloria, Portugal. Back in the 60s, probably, I'm thinking like 68-ish, something like that, where the U.S. had a Radio Free Europe station in Portugal that they used to broadcast into Eastern Europe. And so we got, of course, the CIA people are there doing the broadcasting, and the KGB people are trying to jam the broadcasts, obviously. And the whole movie is about, or the whole series, I think it's a 10 episode miniseries. The KGB has a mole in the system here, and he's trying to do various things to kind of, mess up the system, hijack the system. And his father is a big political honcho in Portugal. And this is a time when there's Portugal's having kind of a civil war in Angola. So it's fact-based. I mean, all that stuff was really going on, but this particular story is all made up. So kind of a CIA versus KGB story.
How long did it take you to sit through that one?
Well, I think it's probably, there were 10 episodes and they were maybe, 40 minutes each, something like that. I didn't do it all at once. This is over several weeks now.
Oh, okay. You picked some very interesting stuff to watch.
Yeah, I don't know. This wouldn't be a 5-star. There are 1 or 2 gaping holes in the story, but as long as you ignore those, it's kind of an interesting story. Yeah.
I'm sure you looked up that movie on Apple TV called Greyhound.
I did. I have that tagged. I'm actually going to watch that. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
You're going to watch it without me. Oh no. Oh no.
No, I won't watch it without you.
That's a war story.
Okay. Yeah. We'll watch that. Yeah. We'll watch that one together.
I told you I read that book. I thought it was.
You did. You
there was no love interest at all. A guy kissed his wife goodbye, got on the destroyer, and the rest of it is nothing but one action after another.
Well, that's your kind of movie.
Well,
that's your kind of movie. Let's face it. You're like a John Wick kind of guy, right? Is it John Wick?
Yeah.
You keep touting John Wick to me. I watched
John Wick is on every night.
I watched about 2 minutes of that, and Christ, he had half of Los Angeles or somewhere was dead by.
Actually, in the first 10 minutes of that movie, he kills 11 men. Anyhow, it was different. And there was going to be a John Wick 4, I'm sure. There's already a John Wick 3. It's getting bizarre now. They'll probably have spaceships involved in the next one. But anyhow, John Wick fans know Wick fans know who they are. I don't want to mention anything about it. Yeah,
there's probably, I don't know, there's probably more Buck fans than John Wick fans. I don't know. Hey, though, Keanu Reeves is making another Matrix movie, I hear. Won't that be interesting?
I like him, but I think he needs a haircut.
I really like The Matrix. I thought that had a lot of things to
do. You thought that was novel at the time?
I thought it was novel. I think it's maybe, unfortunately, a prediction of where the world's going here. The metaverse.
I was going to say like the metaverse. Oh, it could be. Yeah. We might end up doing it. Hey, did you notice? I've been moving around some of the stores. They're selling these goggles you put on.
Oculus.
There's another one. Yeah, there's another one.
A couple of them out there. Yeah,
about $400, and you can just grab them. And I don't know anything else about them, but I don't think you have to do anything except plug them in, right, and hit play.
I don't know. I guess you have to plug them into some system that
I don't know
that projects you into this alternate reality.
Like Wi-Fi, maybe you have to go into Wi-Fi or something.
It's
Well,
like
anyhow.
it's like a podcast. What's a podcast, Dave?
Yeah,
It's the same thing.
Well, if that's the case,
I have no desire to escape to another reality. This one just works fine for me.
well, I mean, some of the things that you run into is like you can't make that stuff up. But I saw that stuff. That's the latest stuff going on, and that's like that metaverse.
I mean, you
I'm not
yell
going
at
to be
me
interested
now.
in that.
You yell at me
I just
now.
bought a wooden watch. What the hell am I
Yeah,
going
what
to
do
do?
you know? Yeah.
Yeah, what do I know?
You chop me up for watching movies and reading books and wasted all my time on that. What if I had goggles? My God, I'd never leave the house. That's my fear. You know, get hooked on this stuff.
You could get on your Peloton, put the goggles on, and you would
could.
never have to leave the garage. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I think?
I think what?
I think
Let's empty the cups, throw them, and throw the paper cups away and call it a day.
Coffee's cold. Everybody's had a good time.
Hey, this is old Buck Dale saying that. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening.
This is old Buck Dave right behind him. Thanks, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time at the coffee shop. Bye-bye.